The clock is ticking. Sequence 16. Maddie woke up an hour before her alarm. She rolled out bed, slipped on her sports bra and running shorts and laced up her sneakers before securing her earbuds in. When she stepped out of her house, she jumped up and down a few times then stretched quickly. The early morning air stung her face as she began her morning run with a slower pace. After running for a while she picked up her pace and sped down the quiet street. At first the running was good, the air was warm and filled with the scent of nature. As she rounded the first bend in the road, she saw a man clad in a black robe and a hat staring at her. The man looked a little strange and mysterious. This was the first time she had encountered him. She gathered her strength and ran past him. Strangely he waved at her. She smiled and waved back. Maybe he is new to this neighborhood, she thought to herself as she continued her run. A while later, she felt a thrill of dread sweep over her. She couldn't clearly explain the feeling, but it felt like someone was watching her. She glanced back along the trees and caught a glimpse of a figure running after her but in a little distance away. He was waving his arms, yelling and pointing at her. She found this a little odd. She had been using this route for months and in that time she had never encountered another jogger, and why was this man yelling at her like that? She picked up her pace and ran a little faster. Her heart was thumping in her chest, plus she had this uneasy feeling at the pit of her belly. Further down the road, she realized he was inching closer to her. She spun around and headed onto the main road. The road was devoid of people. She wondered if someone would answer if she screamed for help. When she turned into another side road, the man continued to follow her. She ran as fast as she could up that road towards her house. She was out of breath and her legs were killing her. Maddie finally got to her apartment. She kicked the door open and quickly slammed it shut, then crumpled to her knees. She was shaking from head to toe and her heart was beating so fast. "Auntie Maddie," Tess startled her. She nearly jumped. "Are you okay?" Before she could respond, she burst into tears. Tess threw her arms around her and soothed her. She pulled away from the hug. "Where is Trini?" "Still sleeping." "Okay, get me some water to drink." She sat on the floor wondering who that man was and why he was following her. She had never been this scared all her life. She made a mental note never to go jogging that early ever again. Parash grabbed the glass and gulped down the water, then she gave the cup back to Tess. She was beginning to calm down a little when a knock sounded at the door. It was too early for anyone to be knocking at her door. What if that man had followed her? "Should I get it?" Tess asked. "No." "Okay." Suddenly the knock got loud and persistent. Maddie stood up and walked towards the door. "Who's there?" she asked sharply. There was no answer. "Who's there?" she asked again, but there was still no answer from the other side of the door. Alarmed now, she quickly walked to her kitchen and grabbed a knife. Then she made her way back to the front door. "Stop playing games with me, whoever you are," she yelled. Silence. She put her ear to the door for several minutes but heard nothing. Then she eased the door open in a crack and peered out. She could not see anyone. Finally she pushed the door open wider, and that's when she noticed a box all wrapped up on the floor. She looked at the box for a minute. 8,000 thoughts quickly ran through her mind. Who sent this? She wondered. She looked around a little before she finally picked the box and walked back into the house. She used the knife to tear open the package. Then she opened the box to find a black dress. She removed the dress and stared at it. It was a long dress that would perfectly fit her. "I can't wait to see you wearing this, baby," the note in the box read. Thomas. Her heart slammed hard across her chest and she dropped the dress on the floor. **** Christina was lying on the couch watching television when the living room door burst open and her sister Vanessa walked into the house. Vanessa's eyes were black and swollen, plus her face was covered in bruises and cuts. Christina bolted up from the couch and rushed towards her. "What happened to you?" she anxiously asked. "Silence. What happened to you?" she asked. "Me husband happened," Van finally responded. "MG. she exclaimed. "No, her went overboard this time. Don't freak out. That man will kill you." "Is Mum home?" she asked, trying to change the subject. "No." "Where is she?" "She is on her way to Lusaka." "What's in Lusaka?" Apparently Maddie got a restraining order against Thomas and Mum just found out. She is vexed. She said she wants to put Maddie in her place. "That's Mum for you. So why did he beat you this time around?" "He hasn't been sleeping home of late, so when he walked in this morning, I decided to throw his phone, and He is cheating on. I found so many messages between him and this same girl, so I confronted him and the rest is history. Why don't you leave him, or better yet, why don't you have him reported to the police? I made him angry. I shouldn't have gone through his phone. That's bullshit and you know it. What do you expect me to do? Leave. And go where? Come back home. She laughed. You think Mom would welcome me back home if I left my husband? You know her stance on divorce. She will disown me. I wonder why you let Mom rule your lives like this. Isn't she ruling yours though? What do you mean? We both know Jericho wasn't your idea. You only accepted to marry him to please Mom. I love Jericho. Marriage is not for the faint-hearted. Christina, you are just 24 and still have a long way to go. Don't rush into this because of Mom. Learn from my experience. Just because your husband is abusive doesn't mean Jericho will be abusive. Look at Claire. Her marriage is perfect. We taught to act happy in public no matter what happens behind closed doors, so don't be so sure about Claire's marriage being perfect. Oh please. Sometimes I even envy Maddie. She doesn't have to go through all this as a single woman. Let Mom hear you say that. What's there to envy about Maddie minus 34-year-old single mother? No thanks. Let's just drop this topic. I agree. Let's drop it. You are beginning to annoy me. Sorry. Come, let's take care of those ugly bruises on your face. Okay. *****.